Bruno's Supermarkets was a chain of grocery stores that opened in 1932 and closed in 2012. Thank you for your suggestion.
The best thing about this time of year is all the good stuff that comes with it. And the best thing about Bruno's is how little you pay for it. This week, get a free Southern Home or honeysuckle turkey when you buy a Mickleberry's whole ham. Beautiful poinsettias in 6-inch decorative pots, $5.99. And traditional pecan pies, $4.99 each. For a perfect holiday, it's Bruno's. We've got all the right ingredients.
In 1932, during the Great Depression, Joe Bruno, the son of Sicilian immigrants, opened a small grocery store in Birmingham, Alabama. He and his family pooled their resources, $600, and opened the first unit of Bruno's grocery store in a 20 by 40 foot building. The 19-year-old took a chance and used his family's savings to purchase a grocery store from a man too ill to continue running it. This Bruno's grocery store on the corner of 8th Avenue North and 10th Street in Birmingham would have fit inside a modern meat cooler. He and his brother Sam quit their jobs and moved the family into a small living quarters adjacent to the store. The whole family participated in various capacities in operating the store, but Joe Bruno was considered the head of the family business. He immediately began to initiate some of the revolutionary marketing techniques that eventually resulted in the creation of one of the fastest growing, most profitable, and most innovative food and drug chains in the nation. He bought stock in far larger quantities and more varieties than his competitors in the neighborhood. On handbills, distributed by his 4 youngest brothers after school, he advertised brand names at low prices. Although he established a policy of no credit, a dramatic departure from small groceries of that time, the store thrived. The public seemed attracted by the abundance and variety of goods and the low prices. Buying in volume and selling at advertised low prices for quality goods became 2 key factors in the growth of the Bruno's stores. By 1935, Bruno had opened a second store. Both family and business thrived, and by 1952, when there were 4 stores operated by the 6 Bruno brothers, Joe Bruno decided it was time to incorporate, rent a warehouse, and use the pooled volume to buy direct. By April 1st of 1959, when the company was incorporated in Alabama as Bruno's Inc., all of the Bruno's sons were well established in the business. The company had a firm foundation of 10 stores by the end of 1959. A decade later, Bruno's began its strategy of opening different chains to target different markets. In 1968, the company opened its first Big B discount drugstore. Bruno's food stores had been expanding, reaching a total of 29 stores throughout Alabama by 1970. The following year, the family took the business public, although they retained 30% of the shares and held on to the management of the company. In 1972, Bruno's launched its Food World chain. The stores were designed as discount supermarkets, and Bruno's kept prices low with many innovative strategies that would later be widely imitated. More than 40,000 square feet in area, the stores were essentially warehouses that displayed shelves of food in manufacturers' cartons. Their economical store design and no-frills service encouraged high sales volumes and low overhead. After the success of the Food World chain, Bruno's refined its marketing strategy in the 1980s, more closely targeting different market segments. The success of Bruno's was due in part to its variety of stores. Bruno's strategy was to divide each market and open stores directed at each segment. This way, the corporation gains market share and comes to dominate each market segment. The stores had different sizes, designs, and products, and each was geared to a particular demographic or economic community. Bruno's divested its Big B discount drugstores in 1980 by offering all stock in the subsidiary to the public. In 1983, the company remodeled its Bruno's food stores and renamed the chain Bruno's Food and Pharmacy. Aiming for a higher-end market, these stores stocked gourmet items from the United States and overseas and boasted larger-than-average departments for produce, meat, seafood, deli items, and baked goods. In 1985, it launched its Food Fair chain. Food Fair stores, at only approximately 30,000 square feet, were designed as conventional neighborhood stores with personal service and promotional pricing. Bruno's also expanded through acquisitions in the 1980s. In 1985, the company bought the Birmingham, Alabama chain Mega Market. Bruno's changed the new store's name, adding them to the Food Max chain, another value format supermarket chain with warehouse-like facilities in a 50,000 to 60,000 square foot range. Bruno's moved into Tennessee in 1987 with the purchase of the Stevens supermarket chain in Nashville. The company also bought 7 Buy Low supermarkets in 1988, which moved the company into Georgia. In 1988, Bruno's acquired PWS Holding Corporation, which held Piggly Wiggly Southern, Inc. This purchase helped Bruno's achieve a substantial expansion in northern Georgia and Florida. The acquisition of 58 Piggly Wiggly stores was Bruno's first major competitive purchase. In September of 1987, Angelo Bruno, co-founder, president, and also chairman, signed a joint venture agreement with Kmart. Considered a bold move for Bruno's, the idea was to build hypermarkets of approximately 200,000 square feet all over the country. The hypermarkets would combine groceries and general merchandise, selling everything from vegetables to clothing, and featuring up to 50 checkout stands. 3 American Fair hypermarkets owned jointly by Kmart and Bruno's opened between 1989 and 1991 in Atlanta, Georgia, Charlotte, North Carolina, and Jackson, Mississippi. Bruno's had a reputation in the industry for aggressive, effective management and practices. For instance, it bought most of its food directly from manufacturers rather than from wholesalers. They usually bought large quantities and qualified for the largest volume discounts. That way, Bruno's could save money and pass the savings on to their customers. On December 11, 1991, tragedy struck when 6 Bruno's executives and 3 others were killed in a crash of the corporate jet shortly after takeoff in Rome, Georgia. The executives included co-founders Angelo Bruno and his brother Lee Bruno, who were on their annual Christmas visit to all of their stores when the crash occurred. Bruno's, like many of the food retailers and supermarket operators, suffered during the recession of the late 80s and early 90s. The chain was sold to Kohlberg Kravis Roberts for $1.2 billion in 1995. Ronald Bruno, CEO since 1991, resigned shortly thereafter. 3 years later, with nearly $1 billion in debt, the company filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy reorganization. It came out of bankruptcy protection in 2000 and acquired 19 Del Champs stores in January of 2001. The company was sold in December of 2001 to Ahold, a Dutch corporation, for $500 million, who then combined it with Bilo. The new management struggled as well, and in 2005, Ahold finally sold the combined operation to Lone Star Funds, a private investment company, who also owned Captain D's and Shoney's restaurants. In March of 2007, Lone Star spun Bruno's off from Bilo. The company operated 65 stores in Alabama and North Florida, employing over 5,100 employees. Between 2006 and 2008, Bruno's market share in Birmingham fell from 22% to just over 11% as Walmart and Publix entered the area's supermarket business. During that period, 14 of the region's 36 locations were shuttered. In September of 2008, the company announced plans to remodel its remaining stores. At the beginning of 2009, Bruno's supermarkets operated 23 Bruno stores and 41 Food World stores. 2 Food Max stores remained in Northport and Oxford. On February 5, 2009, Bruno's filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy again. The company planned to continue business as usual for the duration of the bankruptcy. They would close 10 stores and auction off their other assets. Southern Family Markets, a subsidiary of C&S Wholesale Grocers, would be the highest and only bidder for the company. Southern Family Markets took possession of the 57 locations, 56 active stores plus 1 recently closed location. They elected to operate 31 of those and close the remaining 25 stores. Southern Family Markets would continue to use the Bruno's and Food World brands, but did not convert any of the stores to the Southern Family Markets banner. In late 2011, newly formed Birmingham-based Bell Foods purchased Southern Family Markets and its 57 stores in Florida, Georgia, Alabama, and Mississippi. The company announced that they would rebrand all of the locations to the Bell Foods name, eliminating the Bruno's brand name entirely. By 2012, Bruno's ceased to exist. So what do you remember about this place? Leave a comment or a suggestion for a future video below. And if you haven't already, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching. Another Eric C. production.